A pretty popular girl, a hard-working accountancy student from India who loved Australia and wanted to live here. But tragically, Tusha Thacker was in the wrong place at the wrong time. A thin plywood wall was all that separated Tusha from a teenage psychopath, Daniel Starney Reginald, in a boarding house in Sydney's Croydon. Tusha didn't know that the 19-year-old was not long out of prison. She didn't know he had a sexual fetish for Indian girls. She didn't know he worshipped serial killers like Ivan Milat and the Cleveland Strangler. On Wednesday, March 9, 2011, 3 years ago this week, Starney Reginald raped and murdered Tusha in her boarding house room. He squeezed her small 53-kilogram body into a black suitcase and secured it with cable ties. Then he called a taxi. He sounded pretty relaxed as he booked the cab to pick him up in 10 minutes' time around the corner.
Good afternoon, pick up road.
Hi, I have a pick up from Croydon, the Pizzerino Croydon, Mario's Pizza on Edmund Street.
Oh, what's the street address?
Sorry?
What's the street address?
Edwin. I don't know the actual number, but it's Mario's Pizzerino on Edwin Street.
In what suburb did you say?
Croydon.
And what about the nearest corner street?
I'm not sure about that one, I'm sorry.
So I can't just write Edmund Street. I've got to have a corner street or a street number.
I'll find out for you. One sec.
Dramatic CCTV footage from the cab shows Starney Reginald loading the body containing Tusha into the boot of the taxi and then wheeling it along a path in Meadowbank Park towards a stormwater canal where he tossed the body in. Afterwards, Starney Reginald grabbed a Subway sandwich at Rhodes Shopping Centre and did a spot of window shopping at Dick Smith. Daniel Starney Reginald, who had a violent criminal history, had been planning the rape and murder for months in advance. Neighbour Philip Culbert will be forever haunted by the fact he arrived home while Tusha was in her death throes, dismissing a couple of strange noises as Tusha and her boyfriend having a domestic.
Well, I was definitely there when she was killed, there's no doubt about that. The sound that I heard, which I thought at the time I didn't take any notice of, was probably the last sound she ever made. So it's pretty hard in a way that, as I said, there was no guilt on my part, so I never had those emotions. The emotions I had was I was dirty, and why didn't I pick up on something? Why didn't I realise that something was going on? Because basically I came out from work, the lights on in her room, the music's playing, there's nothing to make me suspicious at all.
Thanks to a first-class police investigation and Crown prosecution, led by Mark Tedeschi QC, and ably assisted by lawyer Rossi Kotzes, who put a year of his life into this investigation, Starney Reginald was arrested and found guilty of the rape and murder of Tusha Thacker. Starney Reginald was deemed to be of high risk of reoffending and was sentenced to 45 years jail with a non-parole period of 30 years. But because of his youth, it means Starney Reginald will be back on our streets before his 50th birthday. Is this a satisfactory result? You be the judge after reading our story. One of the saddest moments of doing this story was when we arrived at the now deserted boarding house with Philip Culbert, only to find Tusha and Starney Reginald's belongings resting at the top of a pile of rubbish in the backyard.